What's up everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Demon's Souls. So the guy we just rescued back at the end of the last episode was Ostrava. And he has the very first side quest we're going to be encountering, and it involves saving his life several times. So that was not the last time we're going to be seeing Ostrava. Also, you might have noticed about his armor. It looks like the armor from the knight in the one of the opening cutscenes. Not the first one, I think it's the second one, the narrated one. Actually, no, it is the first cutscene. That's not... I don't think that's Ostrava in the cutscene. I believe that's the standard Boletarian knight armor that Ostrava's wearing. In fact, we can pick that setup. I think it's in the first level of the Tower of Latria. And this trap is always cool. If you walk past this area without releasing all those boulders or cannonballs, I think they're cannonballs, then one of the enemies will do it for you and you will get crushed. So, better to crush your enemies than have them crush you. Anyway, about Ostrava. Ostrava has an interesting name. Ostrava is not actually his name. His real name is, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Ariona Allant, which would make him the son of King Allant XII. And if you remember, King Allant... Whoop, falling spear, guys. Jesus Christ, taking too many hits from these spearmen. King Allant was the one who started this whole mess by reawakening the slumbering old one, and that started the whole process of the fog seeping out and so on and so forth, yada yada. If we come this way over here to the left, we're going to see some tempting treasure guarded by two very mean creatures. So all that treasure down there, and yet it's all next. They're all next to smoldering corpses, right besides two big ass dragons. So we're not going to be messing with that just yet. We will come back for all that treasure though. So yeah, Ostrava is actually Allant's son, and some dialogue that I'm only saying this because I'm afraid we might miss some dialogue with Ostrava. He reveals that he's actually quite loyal to his father, and that he's also pretty naive. He doesn't believe that his father saw ambition and power to the degree that he did and set this whole mess in motion. He doesn't believe his father has become corrupted. He actually upholds the ideal of his father's nobility and virtue. And so he refuses to believe that this whole mess was caused by King Allant, by the honorable, esteemed king. But we all know that to not be the case. Or do we? No, we do. So we will end up rescuing Ostrava a bunch of times, and you remember back early on in the bridge where the Red Eyes Knight was waiting for us and we didn't take that path? Oh, by the way, one of the ways you can get the treasure here, and I might take my chances... No. You can get the dragon, you can bait him out to breathe fire along that pathway there, and then run back here to the roost and try to gather what you can. You still have to deal with the blue dragon's tail, but the red dragon will be gone temporarily. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to succeed in getting the treasure you want, but you can give it a shot. Hold on, I'm going to stop talking for a second. Spark, it's dicey. Okay, I'm fine. No fire, no death, no spearmen poking me in the butt with their javelins. It's all good. So anyway, about the Red Knight. I think I said he was guarding something. The Red Knight guards the mausoleum. And the mausoleum imprisons / houses Old King Doran. And Old King Doran was the founder of Boletaria. Ostrava, once we complete his quest, will give us the mausoleum key to let Old King Doran out. Or, of course, we could just kill Ostrava and take the key off of his corpse and loot through his filthy, stinking rags of armor. But we're gonna be nice guys and continuously rescue the king's fuck-up son. Oh, and this very important lever here. case you don't recognize that gate, it's the one straight ahead from the beginning. So now we have opened the path up to the very first boss. We're not gonna go there just yet. We have a few things to wrap up here in World 1-1 of the Boletarian Palace. I guess that's a little redundant. So anyway, Old King Doran guards a royal treasure. Once you unlock the mausoleum key and you kill the Red Eyes Knight, you get the opportunity to challenge Old King Doran to a duel. If you bring him down to, I think it's half health or 75% of his health, he will let you proceed onwards to take the... Let's see, there's two different swords. I have to remember the right one. God, I don't like being ambushed. I can't remember what that item is up there. I think it's the Soul Brand. Or Soul Brand. I'm not exactly sure how that's pronounced, because it's spelled brand except with a T on the end of the word brand. So I don't know if it's Brant or Brant or what. Hopefully somebody in the comments knows. That would be very, very handy. But yeah, we get that excellent little sword for completing the duel with Old King Doran, and then we can also kill Old King Doran for some additional stuff. But of course we're not going to be doing that just yet, because we still have to go through... It's pretty much... I think it's the first 3 or all 4 levels of the Boletarian Palace before we can get the mausoleum key from rescuing Ostrava. We could just kill him, we could just go back and kill him, but again, we're not going to do that. So with this playthrough, I'm going to show off as much as I can. And that doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to be going out of my way for literally every item in every level. I'm not going to go crazy with shifting world tendency. I might have already given this disclaimer. I'm not going to go crazy shifting world tendency around to trigger everything. I'm not going to go crazy farming upgrade stones or forging every unique weapon. I will do most of the things, and anything I skip over I'll try to explain, so even if it can't be shown on screen, I'll give you an idea about what's missing. I'm not going to skip anything like major, though. The levels tend to be pretty big and branching and involved, though. Also, I'm realizing I took a really backwards route here to get where I want to go. Let's see, oh no, I thought this was where the chains were. My bad. And here we have the hoplites, which are just little big globs of black goo with shields and spears on the front. So if you attack those guys from the front, their shields, which they're kind of hard to see because they're black and they blend in with the model. Come on, show me the shield. There we go. It kind of just looks like a veiny texture. The shield will block a lot of damage, so you want to try to get behind them to hurt them. Now we can unlock the gate that leads backwards to the first boss. Almost spoiled the name. I don't know why that would be like a big major spoiler, but I'll let the boss speak for himself. And this guy I don't think we've dealt with, so he's just chilling there, biding his time. It's not gonna do him any good. Oh, since we're back here, there was something back here I failed to explain properly. It was about the corpses that we cut down back there. I rushed through explaining that so I could cut ahead and cut the backtracking out. The jade hair ornament back there, what's the jade horror ornament? Has 2 functions. Like I said before, you can trade it to an NPC in the first level of the Shrine of Storms, which is World 4. The detail that I fudged is that you can also trade it to Stockpile Thomas back in the Nexus for a ring that you can't get anywhere else, except off of his body if you kill him. So why is the ornament so precious to him that he'd trade for it? Also, I'm going back here to get the Thief's Ring. And I'll finish this explanation in just a moment, because there's going to be a little bit of backtracking through the pathway we took down to Ostrava. So, see you in a second to finish that. So I was asking, why is the Jade Hair Ornament so precious to Stockpile Thomas? Well, if you read the description in-game, it says something like, it belongs to a poor little girl. It's Thomas's daughter's. It's one little memento for a father who is lost. And by the way, this is Phalanx, who is super easy and weak to fire. And he's surrounded by these little globs of hoplites, but damn, the halberd is such a good sweeping arc. I mean, Phalanx is normally like the easiest boss in the game, but with the halberd, way more so, because it just hits like every fucking one of those things. That's awesome. So yeah, plus you have plenty of columns to retreat behind if you should start getting chipped away at. Just swing away all day. Just keep turpentine on your weapon. That's what turpentine does, by the way. It coats your weapon in fire. Some weapons cannot be coated in fire. Anything that you start off with, any of the starting class weapons, they can all be buffed with stuff like turpentine. Let me just go ahead and reapply that. I'll finish my Stockpile Thomas explanation in a moment. I love the music for this fight too. If you listen close to part of it, it kind of sounds like a track from Donkey Kong Country 2, but I don't remember which one. That I have no like musical language whatsoever, so every time I explain something musical, it's just like, and then the doo 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 doo. Oh, Phalanx, sure, not a challenge. Phalanx himself, the central amorphous blob of all the hoplites, actually can't do anything to you himself, so once you kill the hoplites off, you're fine. There's not even damage that can occur. Plus, they all drop all these shards of hardstone, which is nice. Basic upgrade stones. And that's it for the first major boss, Phalanx, and you see now we are back to 100% of our health. And we get the Lead Demon Soul. Now we can go back to the Nexus, and I can finish talking about Stockpile Thomas and his daughter's memento. So, like I said, it's one little memento for a father who's lost his wife and his child, that jade hair ornament back there. Now remember, we cut 2 chains down. Both chains dropped a body that we could loot. One body had the ornament, and the other body had the old raggedy set that looks like a witch's costume. Let me just let her talk.
The Monumental awaits the above. The Monumental will explain the Nexus to thee.
And we have to go to the top of the Nexus to find the Monumental.
Still alive? I am impressed. This is something that might interest you. The black-robed maiden of the Nexus looks after the flames. She's a morose type, with eyes occluded by wax. She can control souls like no other. Bring her the souls of men and demons, and she will embolden your flesh and blood with their power. But beware. Do not devolve into a foul beast.
The Monumental will
Now we journey up the stairs. So yeah, there were 2 bodies hanging up there where we cut them down and retrieved the ornament off of one of the bodies. The other one had the old raggedy set, which is the witch's costume. What the game seems to be implying is that the corpses of his daughter and his wife were hung in front of the palace, and that his wife might have been a witch. And as to who hung them, given what we know about a character, given what I know about a character named Executioner Miralda, I'm guessing it was her. So this little outlet here leads down to the Monumental.
We have long awaited you, Slayer of Demons. I am one of the Monumentals. We preserve the fabric of reality. There is something thou needest to know. Once, we too, a scourge of demons faced. In the distant past, under a benevolent rule, the world was united owing to the soul arts. Until a lust for power caused the awakening of the Old One. Across the land seeped a colorless, deep fog, and the world faced extinction at the hands of the demons. Thanks be, we were able to lull the Old One back to his slumber, yet only after the loss of innumerable souls, and half the world lost, erased by the fog. In order to mend the fabric of what land still remained, we entrusted 6 elders with 6 precious archstones. 1 to the king of a small yet diligent land. 1 to the king of the burrowers underground. 1 to the wise queen of the great ivory tower. 1 to the chieftain of lost and ill-fortuned souls. 1 to the shaman of the tempest-worshipping shadowmen. And the last to the great giants of the northern lands. The archstones were placed at nodes across the earth. We contained the Old One inside this Nexus and banned the soul arts. Finally, we became Monumentals, half-living sentinels of the fabric of reality. Alas, the other Monumentals have perished, and only I remain.
So
Now
now
it is your turn.
the other sealed archstones have been released. Also notice the Monumental mentioned
Now it is
that
your
there
turn.
were originally 6
You
archstones.
must lull the Old One back to its slumber and seal it away for all eternity. If not, the deep fog will absorb all that we know. Have you the strength to accept this mission?
Of course, we'll accept your mission,
We are
Monumental.
fortunate indeed to have you. Now, go forth and destroy every last demon. The Old One, without demons to feed its souls, will a new servant seek and lure you to its bosom.
Every last demon? That's kind of an absolutist position, Mr. Monumental. Gee, I don't know if I'm cool with that. Maybe the demons can be reasoned with. Maybe we should use diplomacy. Maybe they can join our cause. But I do love fat loot, so every demon it is. And if you continue up even higher in the Nexus, you reach this area, the Pantheon. And the Pantheon is kind of a fourth wall breaking record of some of the game's heroes, so to speak. So this is a list of people who have united the world, which is one of the endings. This is a local list. The most trophies obtained. I think there's one for most souls collected. Just keep going around. There's also something pretty important back here called the Stone of Ephemeral Eyes. I just have to find my way to them. Maybe on the other side. So while we go around in circles, I want to talk a little bit about the multiplayer in this game, since this is seems like a more or less appropriate time to do so. Yeah, here it is. Most souls obtained. It goes all the way up to like 40th, I want to say. 37th. That's weird. It's weird and arbitrary. So the game has these really cool asynchronous multiplayer systems. For instance, there are the messages that we've been reading, and they're left by other players, and they're warnings about upcoming dangers, usually. Sometimes they're troll messages. Like the first time I played, you know the bottomless pit you come across early on in the first level when you go left from the start? There was a message that read, "Jump," so I thought, wow, that's a really fiendish place to hide a secret. So I jumped in and died, and gained a newfound distrust for humankind. That just layered on top of the old one. And then there are the bloodstains, which we see here, and if we touch those bloodstains, we'll see people committing suicide by jumping off of the stairs here. And when you touch a bloodstain, you see a red spectral image of a player's final moments before their death, but you can't actually see what killed them or what they were interacting with.
What do you
you
want,
just
brute?
see their little
I
spirit
have no use for miscreants like yourself.
dying in
Away
horrible
with you.
ways. And it's just a tool to put you on your guard in certain spots if you weren't already, which you should have been. Most importantly, though, you can also summon people into your world as...
The last
Hold on.
surviving Monumental. Those fools revived the old one on a whim. And now they've trapped us here in the Nexus in a desperate attempt to undo their mistake. It's all a travesty if you ask me.
Okay.
Oh, good day. I can
Ed, what do you
forge
have to
weapons
say?
for-
Nothing important. He has nothing to sell either. I'm gonna talk to Thomas and the maiden
No
and
interest,
level up
eh?
a bit. So anyway,
Tell you, you're not gonna last long.
what was I saying? Oh, you can summon people into your world as blue phantoms, or invade others as a black phantom, which is actually red, but still. And there is even a special item that lets you be summoned into another player's world for a duel. There is also a sprawling PvP community set up around Demon Souls and Dark Souls, by the way. Veterans of the games might even tell you that that's where the game really begins. It's been a while, but most of the PvP crowd, I think, tends to stick to builds that max out around soul level 120 or 130. This Disciple of God here doesn't really have that much interesting to say. Antidote, that miracle I will come back for later on when we start the Valley of Defilement, but not now.
You wish to
I'm cool with my heal miracle right
I
now.
swore allegiance to Saint Urbain, but was of no use to him, and now I have run away and abandoned his honorableness.
We'll be hearing much more about Saint Urbain soon. No, I'm not going to attack him. Troll messages. I want to go around killing NPCs in the Nexus? It's not
Brave
cool.
soul, who prithee, lull the old one.
So the Blue Eye Stone... The Blue Eyes,
What is it? Dost thou
the Blue
seek?
Stone lets you set down your soul sign so that people can summon you into the worlds. The other one, I don't really remember what the other one does. It does something, rest assured. But now we get to spend all these souls we got in the first world.
Let strength be granted so the world
So let's
might
up
be
our
ready.
strength. We're gonna get that up to 18.
So the world
And we can
might be
focus
made.
on vitality and endurance a little bit. I have a specific goal for the amount of strength I want, at least early on here. I want to get to 22 strength so I can use a certain shield, and then I want enough endurance so that I can actually equip some of my armor without worrying about the equip burden slowing me down. Then after that I can focus more on vitality a bit, get myself a little bit sturdier, and then yeah, it's pretty much just going to be a balanced build between endurance, vitality, and strength, so that I have enough strength to scale up some later weapons. And we're back in 1-1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, just want to see something real quick. It's not these Dreglings. These Dreglings are not interesting at all. That's why we kill them. We kill them for being boring. On top of many other reasons. Okay, cool, the door is open. We don't need a soul level of 250 for what lies ahead. Beware of the Black Phantom ahead. I don't think we should be encountering the Black Phantom of the NPC here. Because we're on pure white, right? Yeah. That's some wonky advice. So there's a whole bunch of treasure. This is the execution grounds, by the way. So I want to talk a little bit about tendency now. Character tendency and world tendency. They're two of the more amorphous... getting hit. Like, two of the more slippery concepts to grasp. Mostly because they aren't explained in-game at all. And partially because their interface isn't crystal clear all the time. And I'll start with character tendency. So your character tendency ranges from pure white to neutral and back to pure black, and you can see the indicator in the top left near the health and the stamina and the magic bar. It looks like a compass. At pure white character tendency, you do extra damage in soul form, friendly blue phantoms do more damage, and the Monumental gives you a ring called the Friend's Ring. And black and pure black character tendency reduce your maximum HP in soul form by a few %, and you do more damage as a black phantom invading other people. And you get a series of NPC assassination missions from an NPC who only shows up at pure black. There are also 3 weapons that do increased damage based on the extremity of your character tendency, one of which I talked about. There's... Oh no, you know what? The one from Old King Doran is called Demon Brand. And that does more damage at pure white character tendency, and it does nothing at pure black. And then there's its counterpart, Soul Grant, which is exactly the opposite. And you can forge them both together along with one of the boss's souls to make the Northern Regalia, which has a damage bonus at both extreme tendencies, pure white and black. And the Northern Regalia also is cool because it casts the shadow of both swords. So you move towards white character tendency by beating players who invade as Black Phantoms, or by killing unique Black Phantoms, like the Black Phantom version of Miralda. Spoilers is coming up somewhere around here. I thought she was up at the top here, but I'm not seeing her. Maybe my world tendency isn't high enough for her to spawn. So you also move towards black character tendency by invading and killing people in the worlds you invade, and killing certain NPCs, none of which are the ones in the Nexus, though. They won't do anything for your character tendency, I don't think. Shit, where is she? I guess she hasn't spawned? Something down there. Oh, shit, shit! Shit, she's there! That's where she spawns! Oh! No! Clearly, she shaved off half of my health with one hit, and she also swings that big axe very, very quickly. Fuck that. I guess I'll explain world tendency after I cut ahead in a second. Okay, so as per world tendency, we saw one of its effects back there when I got jumped by Miralda, and we're seeing another effect here. World tendency, like character tendency, ranges from pure black. Also, pay attention to one of the rings that I'm going to get here. So world tendency, like character tendency, ranges from pure black to pure white, and everything in between. Not that ring, this one? Ring of Great Strength, there we go. The interesting thing to note here is that tendency is partially affected by the server if you're playing online. If you play offline, you start at neutral world tendency for all 5 worlds. Online, however, the overall world tendency is somehow aggregated by the server when you start a new session, i.e. logging in, and can influence your own world tendency. You can influence your own world tendency from there. The explanation is important here because if I was playing offline, I'd have to do way more to raise the world tendency in this world in order to access the things that we just did. the execution grounds, and Miralda, and the dragons disappearing. Those things happen at pure white world tendency, and we just killing Phalanx wouldn't have raised it enough offline for us to access that yet. So each of the 5 worlds have their own world tendency, and the primary way of pushing it towards white is to kill major demons in that world. Each major demon killed raises the world tendency for that world by 30%, except for the very first boss, Phalanx. Killing him raises the world tendency for all worlds by 30%. Additionally, killing the dragons, the Black Phantom forms of several NPCs like Executioner Miralda, and defeating primeval demons, of which there is 1 in each world, and they appear around black world tendency. They give huge amounts of world tendency, by the way. You also gain it by killing invading Black Phantoms. To go towards black or pure black world tendency, you can die while in body form in a world. One way to avoid this is by committing suicide while in the Nexus every time you get back to body form. But then you're permanently hamstrung with much less health. And let's see what else. There's also killing Old King Doran, or the body forms of Miralda, Skirver, Satsuki. Who are the other 2? Not Garl Vinland. Salen Vinland and Lord Rydell are the other ones. That's right. Their body forms show up in their respective worlds at pure white, and killing them moves you towards black. And their Black Phantom forms show up at pure black, and killing them moves you towards white. Yeah, okay. Okay, good. I think I got all that right. Also, world tendency also affects your maximum HP in soul form, which I think I've talked about. Now, obviously, the major impact world tendency has is the appearance of unique events in the world, usually at the extreme world tendencies. Oh, and before I forget, enemies in white world tendency are weaker, but they also drop less stuff. Black world tendency enemies are stronger, but you can farm them more efficiently. You'll get more frequent rare drops from them, and more upgrade stones, I believe. Since we're in pure white world tendency for World 1, the blue and the red dragons back at the roost disappeared, and the door on the left in the very beginning that led towards the execution ground became unlocked, and since it's pure white, the body form of Executioner Miralda also appeared. And if we get past her into that pit, or if we got past, we get the heaviest armor set in the game, the Brushwood set, along with the poison resist ring. And I think there's something along one of the beams that I'll have to go back for once I can reliably kill Miralda. Now, if this was pure black world tendency, the door to the execution grounds would still be open, but Miralda would be a Black Phantom instead. And she would also... I forgot to mention this. The NPCs that show up at the extreme world tendencies in each world, they drop different items depending on what form you kill them in. In Miralda's case, Black Phantom Miralda drops that cool axe, the guillotine axe. Body form Miralda drops her armor set and a ring. But let's see, this episode has already run over a half hour, so why don't I go ahead and pick up in the next episode with some pretty cool lore. For now, though, thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy. Have a good one.